3, 2, 1, and welcome back to Chasing the Racing. Is it episode 8-1 now, Dom?
It's all becoming a blur, isn't it, Chrissy? It's all becoming a blur. How many are we going to do per season? That's what you were discussing this before we got going here.
I think we should do about 12 episodes per season, and then after 12 episodes we'll round up our charity swear jar money and the kitty, and then
we're gonna have to put a photo of that on Twitter because you have bought a lovely swear jar. Actually, it's a box and it's actually made me question my life really because I swear far too much. I think there's a couple of quid in there from you as well, so you're a good lad.
Spot on. But this podcast is, we didn't actually manage to get a sponsor this week, but the lovely people at NGK have sent us some lovely snapback caps. So we're gonna run a little competition at the end, and we'll post some out to some of the listeners. So we can say this week is brought to you by NGK Spark Plugs.
Yeah, hopefully we could do with the spark plugs, to be fair, though, couldn't we?
NGK, they're a cracking company. They're actually a personal sponsor of mine, and we're really lucky to have them on board again for this year. So little plug for them. But anyway, what have we got for this episode then?
This episode, we've got the MotoGP. We're going to talk about Scarborough, how it's all coming back, which is fancy. A little bit about TT numbers. To be fair, we've kind of hit that lull, haven't we, at the moment? You know, it's a little bit like all the excitement of what's going on and at the moment, we're waiting for the Qatar meeting with the MotoGP about to kick off. So we're a little bit of a lull and we're picking things out of fresh air, but obviously, well, we are though. Let's face it.
We're on the cusp of like all the racing starting off, so we're just
that's exactly it.
And we've got a few good questions tweeted through, so if we've got time, we can maybe have a quick look through there.
And we've got our first privateer guest.
Aye, nice. So it's a pre-recording, and we had a nice little chat with.
As far as privateers go, he's a good in mind. He's good crack. He's really good crack. But hey, before we jump into it properly though, how was your week, son? What you been up to?
Not too bad. Just the standard week. I've been dead busy with me teaching, so just nothing interesting to report really.
Teachers never stop, kids. Teachers never stop. So when they're angry and chucking things at you, I don't know what's it like in your school. Is it a posh school you work in?
It's a school.
It's posh. It's posh.
But what about you anyway? Good week.
I've been burning the candles at both ends. I've been taking every shift I can possibly get my hands on. Been doing night shifts as well as day shifts, but as long as we don't tell health and safety, we'll be all right.
We usually record the podcast on a Wednesday night, but just as I was setting off to come over here, there's a text to say you'd had an emergency job somewhere over the other side of the country, so you had to shoot. How was it?
Oh, it was meant to. I'm just going to put a couple of extra zeros on the invoice and see if they can go for it, because hopefully they're as tired as me, the swines. But no, it should be great. I'll tell you what, I got some really good news, mind. A lovely woman, a woman, dear boy, called Rachel Lloyd Motorsport. She's going to do a painting of us.
Oh, fantastic! What, like an oil paint?
An oil painting. It's going to be like Titanic, like paint me like one of your French girls' jacket job, pearl necklace, chucking it. Now, we're totally off subject here, but that silly bitch that chucked that diamond off the boat. Have you seen the Titanic?
Oh, I've seen
look at you nodding. You're just agreeing here. Then. Anyway, she chucks like $1 billion diamond off. I would have chucked her off after. But no, so it's a little plug from my end anyway. So a little Rachel Lloyd Motorsport. Thank you very much for doing like a painting of us. And obviously I get a bit of commission from that. So thank you very much. Thank you very much.
And how's the old phone cases selling?
TT
phone cases.
TT cases. No, they've almost sold 100 of them.
Oh,
now I've got a theory. Everyone that's bought them is called Dom, so that's my theory. It's not really a very open name like Mark or David. I'm just slagging off Mark and David, and we're gonna get an unfollows on this Twitter and us very quickly.
I know my dad's ordered one, but I think he ordered one. Preempting the phone that he was getting, but he hasn't managed to get the phone, so he's got a case but no phone to fit it yet. But I'm sure it'll do the job when he gets his phone. And also I seen on the old Twitter and FaceTube as you call it, you've set up a bit of a Dom the Bomb. What is it? The Bomb Squad supporters club. How's that going?
Well, it's an idea out there because obviously a lot of supporters club go out there and. You and me were discussing, I've discussed with a few of my mates as well, that we're going to do this like Club 11, like Paul Owen did a Club 98, Kyle Wright does a 77, and like Josh Daly does an 88 club. So I was thinking about doing like a Club 11 thing.
Well, that's original.
I know, that's pretty much it. And obviously, funny enough, the lad sitting opposite, which is the Rousset here, yeah, so he came up with the idea of the Bomb Squad. At first, I thought that's pretty cheesy, but in the same breath, it's original, it's good. So thank you very much for the name. And it's a case of the idea is that on PayPal, you give us a tenner towards me racing, because as we all know, it's an expensive sport to be in. And the idea is you get your name on an A-frame board outside the meetings, and you get a sticker through the post and a thank you letter. And yeah, that's the idea anyway. It actually isn't in the practice yet, but yeah, just going to see the feedback and see who likes it and who doesn't and whatever.
Because did you run something last year where you had, because I remember seeing like loads of little names on your belly pan and all over your bike for the Isle of Man TT? Was that some sort of fan club or?
Oh no, that was a case of me and my mates. We made a team together called WH Race, and it was a case of when we got to the event, the graphics were already done on the bike, and we had this huge space on the belly pan, and we thought, right, well, we need some fuel money, because, Christ, around the TT, like we've said, every 2 laps you use 24 litres of petrol. You know what I mean? It all mounts up bloody quickly, mind. So we came up with the idea of like a tenner to put your name on the bike, and people were loving the idea of it, mind. Mm-hmm. So we ended up having this problem of going, shit, we're going to run out of fare in here. So at the end of the day, a tenner's like a couple of pints now, man.
Yeah.
So you thought, well, help someone out or whatever, a tenner. There's people doing like 100 clubs and 200 clubs, and you think that's a lot of cheddar, mind, isn't it?
Cheddar.
Well, it is mine, but you don't even understand that too. It's like someone having 50 cent, so a bit of cheddar. So the idea behind it's a bit of fun rather than like if someone gives you 200 quid, if you put 200 quid in front of someone, that's a lot of money.
Mm-hmm. A lot of cheddar.
It's a lot of cheddar, young, and now you're getting the grips of it. But anyway, let's quickly talk about our guest. You've never even heard of him. He's that private, you know what I mean? He gets his privates out more than a privateer. But what do you make of him? Obviously, we've had a quick pre-recording chat. What's your thoughts on him, son?
I really enjoyed chatting to him. I mean, he sort of epitomises what the sport's about, and it was interesting to hear his sort of journey, how he got into road racing, and how he's at that quite early stage where he sort of first go around the island and just sort of building his lap times up nice and steady, and it was really interesting just to hear his take on a few things. And obviously we did our little Dom versus the guest at the end there, which was good crack.
I hate that. But no, it's very much Dave Murphy. He's a good friend of mine, so it's like you were saying, he epitomises like the idea of road racing, and not only that, just racing. At the end of the day, there's a lot of us out there that take the sport almost too seriously. You don't get me wrong, you have to take the sport serious for safety and that. But he goes out there to race a motorcycle, not to gain trophies. Don't get me wrong, I think you'd be out of the bloody moon to come back with a winner's trophy. But at the moment, he's enjoying his racing, and he's doing the best he can with the bike he's got, and he rides his heart out every weekend or every chance he gets to go going. So, yeah, would you like to introduce him?
You go on, I'll let you, because he's your mate.
Yeah, diamond. Right. Ladies and gentlemen, we have ready for us Dave Murphy, a.k.a. Slipstream.
Alright, Dave, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Now, hello, Dave. Now, let's get something straight here. No one knows you. And this is my favourite part, because not only on this podcast, Tracing the Racing, we're trying to introduce the privateers, and let's face it, no one gets more private than you. You actually got your privates out more than you do being a privateer yourself. So, tell Chrissy, and tell everyone who is Dave Murphy.
Well, like I said, I've just been a bit secretive, because it's I don't like people knowing who I am. I'm a natural born victim, so
we're not the inland revenue, son. You know what I mean? We're not going to go investigating on you. So go on, who are you? Where you from? How tall are you? How fat are you? Come on, let give the people what they want.
Right, I'm 6'2" and I'm skinny as fuck.
Bollocks! You've never ever been skinny.
I'm anorexic, challenged, and I'm a road racer from Blackburn. If you've never heard of it, it's a good thing.
What, Blackburn or you?
Both. I've been a pain to everyone I've met this year. You included. So Yeah, he's just road racer. I said, an emphasis on skinny.
So a couple of days ago, I was having a chat with Dom, and he was saying we need to get Slipstream on the podcast. And so going by the name of Slipstream, where did that come from?
Oh, that's that was just a spur of the moment thing at the Northwest there. That's mostly due to Dom, actually. That's his fault. It's I don't know, Dom. You probably tell the story better yourself.
Mate, I think there was a lot of drink involved there. It was absolutely
there was an awful amount of drink, yeah.
Oh, it was mint, man. Obviously, we're going through this place called the Anchorage now. If everyone that's ever been to the Northwest, now, have you ever been, Chrissy? You've never been? Oh God, me and Slipstream, he'll take it. It's great.
Yeah, you need to get there.
Oh, Christ,
lock-ins every night, man.
No, it's absolutely. I'll tell you what, I'm not even comfortable talking about this Slipstream story. Actually, a lot went on there. A lot went on. But no, obviously you got the name Slipstream because obviously there was a few lads going out on the drink and stuff, and you were standing there with your handlebar moustache, your matching sideburns, you know. Your top had more holes in a sieve from fag burns and Guinness stains. It was absolutely mint. And he literally just walked in behind us lads and went, "Don't worry, lads, I'm in your Slipstream. Any women that deflect off you, I'll grab them." And it just and that, Chrissy, is how he's called Slipstream, and it's just gone from there, like.
And ever since then, that's how I've got all my women.
What's the plans for this year? Obviously, so road racing. Are you racing? Are you doing the internationals? What's the crack?
Oh, everything. I'm just doing everything. You know, I've got my hands in loads of pies. Not just the road racing really. I've got the internationals on the go, and looks like I might be doing the Southerns this year, and it's just getting massive. It's getting out of hand. You know,
right. So hold on. Are you doing the nationals? All the nationals? Your Cookstown, your Town McGee's.
Every one of them, Dom. Every one of them, yeah, and as well, I'd say the internationals as well.
Good lad. Now, obviously, that leads us on to a lovely question here. Obviously, I was telling Chrissy about you, and how your passion for racing is like second to none. And I really do believe there's not many people like you. The fact is, you left a lovely home, and I've actually been to your house, and it's a mansion. Now, when you actually meet you, you're like a dodgy little pikey, and everyone loves you for it. And obviously, you've gone from this mansion, amazing home, and you moved to Ireland. And go on, tell us about that. And what did you do?
Yeah, well, I just thought, sod it. You know, I can't afford the ferries for all the racing I want to do, so I just sort of hopped in me rusty white transit van, as jippo as you get, and then put the smallest jippo caravan on the back you could possibly imagine. Just sort of winged it, jumped across on the ferry and hoped for the best.
So at that point, did you have any plan whatsoever?
Not one. No, not a clue. No
once.
Work, nothing. Just got some work out there, and then as luck would have it, I actually got semi-adopted. I've got two dads, and another couple of brothers.
So do you sort of move around following the race, and do you have a sort of base in over in Ireland, or?
Yeah. Like I say, I got sort of semi-adopted there. There's if you know, a few lovely people over there. That's the one thing over there. It's just mega. Everyone's brilliant, you know.
You're not allowed to mention them. You're not even giving us a name yet. Like two lovely people. Lovely people. Come on, give us some details.
No, that's Nigel Watt and Johnny Watt and Adam Watt. They sort of I put a post up because I couldn't get a bike over. It's a touchy subject, my little Honda. It's just an explosion machine. But
now, come on, which class? Which Honda?
The 400. It's just a fucking bomb.
Hold on. There's only one bomb in this show, and that's me. But now, hold on. Now, even we're going to discuss it further. Even in this show, we're going to discuss it. I can't even get my words out today, Chrissy. My brain's gone. It's on a full-on fart here. Now, you've been to Scarborough, but you've raced your catties and everything round there, haven't you?
Yeah. I'm just fucking stupid.
So why weren't you tempted to take that to Ireland?
Oh, I've tried, mate. Don't worry. I've tried. I had to sell that to my dad. I ended up financing it, and they wanted refinances and all sorts of stuff. So I ended up selling that to my dad, and now I've got the displeasure of having to look at it in the workshop every time I go through, and no, I'll never ride it again. That, and she's ready to blow up again.
What bikes have you got set for this campaign?
For this year, I've got a GSXR 600. They run there this year. I've got the 400. I've had two engines built for both of them bikes, so hopefully the 400 might actually make it for a change. And then I've got for some reason, enough is just never enough. I don't know if you've ever seen that Greatest Showman, but that just seems that song's stuck with me, and I've got 2 RS125s and a Ducati 888 as well. That's probably going to get let loose this year.
Bloody hell!
And will you be taking all of those over to the Manx?
No, the Manx is just going to be the 400, the 600, and then I'm putting a classic TT entry this year just to try and get an extra race out of it and see where I go with the 888. But we'll sort of know when the entries open for that and see what the chances are.
All I'm taking away from this, Chrissy, is you're a maths teacher, I'm a woodcutter, and we're in the wrong job. This lad can afford 3, 4, and a caravan. Christ, I can't even afford a roof over my head most days, son.
Yeah, well, the caravan come free, and I dig a lot of fucking holes.
That's a pound in the swear jar. We've finally got the first swear out here. You've been very well behaved.
I know.
We're gonna skin you like a cat unless you put the pound in.
So the previous season, the one that's just passed, how did that go? Like your best results?
Best crash.
To be honest with you, best crash. Yeah, to be honest with you, it went surprisingly well. I only crashed twice this year, which is sort of like it's a record.
Come on, let's delve into details here, mind. This Ulster Grand Prix crash, obviously, it wasn't your fault, mind. We're going to clear this up. We're making it sound like a crash. But no, you've got a hell of a good head on you, and you're learning your craft. But let's talk about that bloody crash like you had at the Ulster. What? I didn't even see it, but the whole paddock had echoed for days. It was like, how is Dave Murphy even walking? Well, you're barely walking now. You've got a hell of a limp on you.
Yeah, well, the limp's sort of more or less gone, but Jesus, I'm proper shagged if I end up on the floor because I can't get up. But
that's because you're anorexic, aren't you? Though, so
that's it. Yeah,
it's nothing to do with the weight.
Yeah, but I'm a powerful anorexic though. That's the thing,
Hey,
I've got bulk,
I've got Chrissy right sitting next to me here now, right? And he's looking through photos of you, like on Facebook. You look fast as fuck on Facebook, boy. You look totally unhinged. I love it. Absolutely. In the wet, knee down. Oh, you're my hero. You're going up in my estimations.
Yeah, it's amazing what Photoshop will do these days. Like it's proper. But
what's going to be your first outing of the season then when you're getting out?
Well, I've just had to push some dates back. I mean, I know I've got all the plans and all the best intentions in the world, but I know and I dig a lot of holes. I've just not dug enough of them this year. So I think first outing is probably looking like it's going to be Cookstown.
He's talking shite again. I saw on your face tube, right? You've been out in Spain. You're more factory than factory. You saw
testing.
Chrissy and me have never been out County Durham. Never mind being in Spain.
Well, it's absolutely bankrupted me. Like, I only went to make Mike Norbury jealous, really. So.
Oh, nice. Which track did you go to?
It's Qatar.
Oh, mint. I like Qatar. How did you get on around there?
Not very well, to be honest with you. We had a lot of issues with it. A lot of issues with the bike. We have to go back to the drawing board with a spare engine that went out testing light. So it's just that when that comes home, that'll be back on the dyno, and she'll have throttle bodies thrown at it and ECUs thrown at it and bell mouths and all sorts of just not trick stuff, just stuff that's going to make it run right.
What was your favourite corner there?
It's hard to really say, to be honest.
He's going to say left here, Chrissy. The left one, mate. The left
one. The left one. Yeah. No, I like the right ones. I have to say, there's the fast section coming down, coming up over the hill, and then you've got the fast right, fast left before the hairpin right. I think that's probably the favourite section there. It's just wind it up until it starts sliding and hope for the best.
Yeah. So when was it that you first got into road racing? Like how?
I got into it sort of just. It's like a natural progression, isn't it? It's like I suppose it's like. I mean, I've never done crack light, but I suppose it's like how do you get to do being a crackhead like?
You're from Blackpool. How the hell have you not done crack? Blackpool, somewhere anyway. There we go.
Yeah. No, well, I can't afford it, you see. I keep saying maybe one day when I retire from racing, I'll take crack up and I'll have some spare money.
So is it a case of you started out on the track and then you progressed to road racing and then you've never looked back type of thing, or?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, to be honest with you, it probably started when I first got my little 50 Aprilia on the road and just started, I thought, sod it, I need a bigger bike, and got a 600 and went track day and then went racing. Then after short circuit, it's just natural progression. And then after the roads, it's like you get onto the Isle of Man, and then that's just like mind blown.
Now, speaking of the Isle of Man, now, obviously, throughout the season, we've got to know each other. And let's just say, obviously, you're very, very dedicated to your racing, but you had a lot more of a relaxed attitude towards everything, which is great. That's important to have. People take it far too serious sometimes. But when you came to the Manx, I saw a different Dave Murphy. I think you had a right kick up in arse, to be honest with you, son. So, has your attitude adjusted since doing the TT course?
Well, you sort of trained me a bit there, Dom. Dom actually took me out and forced me, literally
not
dragged
just
me
me.
out.
It was the whole family. It was bloody everyone going, stop dicking about.
Old high side trotter there's had a good impression as well. And he took me out and then made me buy a whiteboard and shelving and markers and so it just proper changed me, But I think every time he wasn't looking, I'd just sort of rub something off the board just for shits and gigs, really.
What I'm referring to here is obviously making a list, Chrissy. You know what I mean? Just the fact is, you've got have you had brake pads? You've gone, what are brake pads? But now, all seriousness, from your first couple of laps and then obviously towards the end of the week, I could see from the outside looking in your attitude towards us. Now, any form of racing, shorts or roads or even track days are all serious things, but I could see your passion grow with going to the Manx, and you stopped like taking it as it'll be all right to actually, how do I improve? What do I need to do? The bike prep, and that was brilliant to see from my point of view, because you treat them weeks serious, but you started to take an obsession with it, and that made you a better rider.
Oh,
you were worried about qualifying, and you smoked that.
I was about to skin my teeth. But no, it's to be honest with you, it did sort of change my attitude a lot. It's it's just an amazing place, like, and you can't take that place for granted. I had a couple of sort of closest calls, and just doing stupid stuff and not really knowing where I was. So I'm like, just let's just have a look.
And what sort of lap times did you get down to?
I think in the end I done 108.6 or something like that. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I was hoping for a bit more, but
that's hold on. Don't knock yourself, son, because you got to think people are just hearing the end result. But where did you start?
Jesus, I can't remember what first lap I done, but it was nowhere near that, And you take as soon as you take you out for that first speed control lap, and you sat behind someone and just staring at the tyre. It's really daunting. It's easy to get sucked into not looking and riding for yourself and trying to follow them. So I had a lot of trouble trying to sort of break that habit initially, and then eventually it all started sort of coming together. And unfortunately, just it would have been nice to get another couple of races in and a few more laps in after that. Because as soon as that last race is over, you finish the junior race and you're absolutely buzzing. You can't be happier, and then you sort of come to realise and you start sulking them because you've not got any more race until next year. So
there you are. You've definitely been bitten by the TT bug. Now,
the
fact is, people say there's a huge difference between the Manx Grand Prix and the TT, but in my opinion, there isn't. It's the same course. You know what I mean? It's the same mountain and everything, but you've been fully bitten by. Well, you've just chucked all your money away for the rest of your life now, haven't you? Now,
yeah.
The thing is, right, obviously, when I was speaking to Chrissy about getting you on the show and that, like, the thing is, it's all well and good getting all the big names, and it's also, they've got a cracking story, but it's good to get the privateers, and Chrissy couldn't be more supportive of that. Now, like I said at the beginning of this, you do not get any more privateer than you, and it's just great to have you on the show, and I can't thank you enough, mate. I really can't.
No, thanks for having me, guys. It's been to be honest with you, when I got the phone call yesterday, I was a bit shocked, I thought
you've got phone signal. That's why he's what you more than anything. I've got phone signal.
Yeah.
Christ.
And looking ahead for this year, what's your sort of ambitions going back to the Manx?
Well, I say just going back to the Manx, just get as many laps in as possible, and just have it. Like I say, I think I'll change my attitude again towards the Manx because you start trying to chase fast lap times around there, and you just go backwards. So I think next time it's just going to be sort of rock up, do loads of laps on a few different bikes, and just get as much as I can possibly get, tire myself out, and then just let it come to me.
Oh, mint. Well, just before you go, we've got a quick game of Dom versus the guest. I don't know if you've heard it wasn't the last podcast, it was the podcast before, but it's a new little game, 5 quick questions, take it in turns. So I'll ask Dom to go first, then you, then Dom, then you. No,
that's spot on. Just, if you could just hint me the right answer, that'd be grand, yeah.
I was about to say, I look like I look terrible in this, and it does me head in. I learn so much.
Just to let you know, the first time we played this, no, the only other time we've played it, both guests scored 1 out of 5, and it's multi-choice. So
come on, son, here we go.
We've got 4 multi-choice questions, and then 1 that's not multi-choice. Okie doke. So, would you like to go first, or should Dom?
No, I'll let Dom go first. You
know, So we've got question 1. Which rider won the most 500cc world titles? Is it A, Freddie Spencer, B, Eddie Lawson, or C, Wayne Rainey? Go on, Dom.
I'm going to go for A, Freddie Spencer. Okay. Go on, son. What's your answer?
I'm going to go Rainey.
So you see that this is a race face of Murphy. He's not even breathing. He's like
yeah.
Just give me the question.
I didn't take a breath since the phone call. That.
No problem. So, question 2: which circuit has the greatest difference between its highest and its lowest points? So, like the biggest altitude. Is it A, Knockhill, B, Brands Hatch Indy, or C, Cadwell Park? So you go first.
Am I going first?
Yeah, go on, son.
I thought you were talking to Dom. Yeah, I'm going to go Cadwell.
Well, yeah, Dom?
No, it's got to... I've been on that hill in Knockhill. You know what I mean? It's got to be Knockhill.
And question 3. Which year did Bob McIntyre record the first ever 100-mile-an-hour lap of the TT course? Was it A, 1957? Was it 1958? Or was it 1959?
Well, I'm going to go first on this one. And I really hope it's B, 1958.
1958? What about you, Dave?
Yeah, I think I'm going to go 1958 as well.
You coward. You coward.
And question 4. Which road circuit has a corner named Islands? Is it A, the TT? Is it B, Dunrod? Or is it C, Scarborough?
Island Bend, I'm trying to think now. I'm going to go for Dunrod. I never normally remember corner names. Like it's a weak point I've always had.
I'm going to go for B.
Dunrod,
son. Dunrod.
And finally, question 5. So this is the only non-multiple choice question. Which rider was the last rider to win a Grand Prix in the Premier Class?
What?
Sorry. Which rider was the last rider that was World Superbike champion to win a race in the Premier Class?
Murphy, you go for it. You go for it, Murphy. I have no idea here.
You mean you say Grand Prix? You mean is it MotoGP?
Yeah, so
the 500.
Yeah. So he was the last person to win a World Superbike championship and won a MotoGP race. Yeah.
Oh hell! So he's won a MotoGP race and World
Superbike champion. Yeah, the last person to do that.
Oh Jesus!
I'm gonna go for. Can I go?
Yeah, go on. Yeah,
Cal Crutchlow.
And
oh Jesus! This is a difficult one. I'm trying to think now. I'm trying to think of boys that's been in Worlds and GP.
Well, he's marking these down, so it's not Cal Crutchlow because I'm just seeing a big X here. I'm fucking devastated.
Well, that's that. I'm more happy that you got it wrong though. I don't care if I get it right.
Come on, answer it. Come on.
I don't know. I'm just gonna go with someone like Biaggi or something like that.
Yeah, good guess, but not quite right. So the scores on the doors, we've got Davey has got 2 out of 5.
Yes.
And Dom has got 1 out of 5. So we've got a winner.
Yeah, suck that, Dom. You're never gonna live this one down.
good thing is we've got the end button here, so we've had enough of you, son.
Yeah, well, I expect a badge, like a little sticker or something for my, for
Well,
doing
you'll
well
be
on that quiz.
You'll be getting your Chasing the Racing mug through the post, as well as we'll send you an NGK cap as well.
I'm gonna
Oh,
spit in the
spot
mug,
on.
mate. I'm gonna spit in the mug. There you
Oh,
go.
no,
And
well,
I'm-
thanks
and
so
I'm
much
still
for
going to drink it.
thanks so much for coming on the podcast anyway, and the very best of luck for this season.
Oh, thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. It's been brilliant. Thanks for thanks for letting me talk.
Cheers,
Yeah.
mate. I'll see you in a bit.
Dom never lets me talk.
Cheers, Slipstream lad.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, son.
Cheers, mate.
No worries. See you later. Bye.
So big thanks to Davey, our first privateer guest on the show, and I really enjoyed having a bit crack about his preparations for the season and how he got into racing and stuff. And without further ado, on to our topics for today, Dom. So starting MotoGP, obviously we've got the first round coming very soon this weekend.
At Qatar there.
They've had some testing last weekend, so all the lads have been out, and are you looking forward to it?
I'm looking forward to it now. As far as the track goes, I think it's brilliant. It's nighttime run, so you got to think shadows have got something to play with it as well. When you watch it on the telly, the shadows must have something to do with it. Obviously, I know we go racing sometimes in the sunshine in the UK, but around there with the floodlights, it must be very distracting, to be fair.
Do you know what? I remember speaking, I can't remember who it is, but they were saying the first time racing under floodlights, it might have been at Suzuka, or I can't even remember, Qatar, or one of these races where they race under floodlights, and they were saying at first you go to tip into a corner and your own shadow is coming up the inside of you, and you like shit yourself and sit the bike up, and then
thinking it's someone else.
Yeah, but then you sort of get used to it. So yeah, I mean, it does add a little twist, but in reality, it's the same riders usually at the front, and it's
you
it's the same skill set, really, isn't it? So,
but the sand mind, that's something I notice.
And I think there's been problems with something else to do with, because the top MotoGP lads are trying to bring the race forward 1 hour because there was a problem with the track. It's to do with like the temperatures at different times of the day.
Because it's pretty much ran it. Well, it is ran at night, obviously, but
yeah, because it gets too hot out there during the normal day, so they're running it over the night. But I'm proper looking forward to it. It was fantastic to see Sam Lowe's back, with his back in his mojo, and ending P1 in Moto2. So with flying the British flag high.
Because we're on the Triumph engines now in that class, aren't we?
Aye, the new, what is it,
6,000 million something fast.
I remember I think it was last year, they were doing a bit of testing over in Spain, and Steve Brogan, one of the guests that we've had on the show, was out there working for Triumph. I think they had to do so many miles on them, just to test the engines and like whatever. But no, I think it'll be really interesting class this year. Obviously, we've got Sam Lowe's, and we've also got Jake Dixon.
I was about to ask her, how's he getting on?
Yeah, he seemed to sort of plateau a little bit in testing. He was looking really promising earlier on. Obviously, he's never been to that track before, so you can't expect too much
brand
straight
new
away.
bike, brand new tracks, everything.
But at one point he got down to about 1.6 off the leader, which was good showing. But towards the end, I think he sort of he was about 2 seconds off Sam, and he was trying different things, but he just couldn't really go much faster than that 2 seconds. So I think in all honesty, he ended up a little bit disappointed. But yeah, I mean, it'll be a massive learning curve from this year.
And get the first race under your belt and then realise what it's about and that. So
exactly.
Fingers crossed for the Union Jack there, mate.
Yeah, he's got an awful lot to learn this year, and yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting. But yeah, Sam Lowe's was fastest, Tom Luthi second, Remy Gardner. Good to see Remy Gardner up there because he's a character, and
he's got one of the best names in the paddock, hasn't he? Remy Bay.
And then
he looks like he'd steal a pile of Greg's pasty sphere, wouldn't he, without no one looking.
Luca Marini is in 9th. That's Valentino Rossi's half brother, and he came on really strong at the end of last year. Brad Binder 10th. He's another a good championship contender for this season, I think. I'm just looking down the list there. I think most people are in the order that you'd expect. Joe Roberts, flying the flag for America, is 24th, just one place ahead of Jake Dixon. I remember years ago.
How many people are on the grid?
There is, in testing, there was 32. 32 on the grid.
Bloody hell, that's a full grid, that mine, with the amount of money chucked at the job, isn't it?
Hi.
Well,
I
how
was
many
just
did you
gonna
get?
say, I met Joe Roberts years and years ago when he was a proper young lad over at Red Bull rookie tryouts, and he's a proper cool little kid. And I think his dad works as on like Hollywood films as like a director or something. And
So the Cheddar's no problem to him then, is it?
The Cheddar. So we've got those are the two sort of British hopefuls in Moto 2. In the Moto 3 class, we've got Tom Booth Amos and John McPhee. I think John McPhee is how many years has he been in that class now? It's
Must be 4. No.
more than that. He's been British 125s in 2010, and then from I think he did a few years in Spain. So yeah, he's had a long time in the sort of Moto 3 class World Championship.
How old is McPhee then?
Oh, he's getting on. I think he's older than me, so he must be 25, 26-ish, something like that. So, and then Tom Booth Amos it's his first year in MotoGP, having I think he did Spanish Championship last year, and then a few years ago, 2017, he won the British Moto Star class for the Ryan Saxby team. I've got to say, obviously it's his first time at Qatar and first time in that class, the Moto 3 World Championship class. He finished up in last position or second last position, and I'm not expecting a great deal from this season, to be honest.
Yeah.
It was I actually used to race against Tom in Superstock 600 years ago, and he was very sort of mid-pack at best, really, in Superstock 600, and then he after Superstock 600 he actually dropped back to the Moto 3 class for a couple of seasons or whatever, and he dropped down on the Ryan Saxby bike. So there was him and I think it was Jake Archer, and those bikes are a real trick. I don't know if you know, but the Moto 3 class, do you know what sort of money? Do you know what sort of cheddar those bikes are?
I remember the last time we had this conversation was with Steve Brogan.
Aye.
And he was talking about how much it gets into certain classes and stuff. I nearly fell off my stool.
Yeah, it is ridiculous money, like stupid money.
But Moto 2 this is.
Moto 3.
Oh shit! So
Yeah,
you can imagine the money
just
will go up further
Moto
and
Star.
further.
Yeah, it's like massive money for the bikes and running costs. But
I've got some gossip for you later on as well.
He went back down to that class, and he was the same age as me at the time, so he was about 20, and he's racing against most of the lads in that class are like sort of from like 15, 16, 17, and so he won the championship that year. But after moving on from Moto 3 going to Superstock 600, he went back, and he was on the best bike, so you would
expect him to actually bang in a result.
Yeah, absolutely. And then from that he's moved on, and he's got like backing from Dorna and whatever, and he's into the Moto 3. But I've got to say, after Rory Skinner, who's won the British Talent Cup this year.
Yes, and he's still struggling a bit.
Yeah, so he's been in Red Bull Rookies, won the British Talent Cup. For me, I would love to see Rory have a chance like what Tom's getting in Moto 3. And for me, it's been a big shame that he hasn't actually had that opportunity. And I think he's going to be doing British Supersport this year. But it'll be an interesting one to watch anyway. And John McPhee, I think he finished up something like 6th or something. But it's one thing I think's very interesting is we've got those two lads out there sort of representing the UK effort in the Moto 3 class. And it's sometimes, like, say, John McPhee, the last time he was at BSB was 2010, I think. So he's been in World Championship since then. And it's sometimes interesting to contrast how those lads would do back home in our national series.
Well, look at what the Redden situation is.
Yeah, seen Redden, and Danny Kent obviously won the Moto 3. He's a Moto 3 world champion. Things haven't worked out for him recently, and he came and entered into the last British Superbike race at Brands Hatch, and I don't think Danny's actually got a ride for this year. I don't know if you look on his Twitter, he's kind of looking for a ride at the moment. So.
It's never your turn, is it? If you know what I mean, you've constantly got to be hungry, haven't you? You can't just think, something will happen. You've got to go chase it, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean, things have.
There's a life lesson for you kids.
Things have really went sort of pear-shaped from after
winning a world championship.
Absolutely, he was the next person after Barry Sheen. So like since Barry Sheen, he's our only like sort of MotoGP in the MotoGP paddock. He's our only world champion.
And look what happened to
He's out
Sheen.
the sport, I think.
He shagged more women. There's not even a quote big enough, is there? Like, he was some boy, that Sheen mind. That's what Danny Kent needs to do: smoke more tabs and sleep with more people's wives. There you are. You might get some more out of it.
And then looking into the elite class MotoGP, who's your money on for this weekend then?
You can never rule out Marquez, man. He's just a phenomenon. You know what I mean? I think his maturity's getting, like, he's less out to prove a point.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? He knows, he's confident, he knows he can do the job, but his shoulder, but how are the times reflecting that?
Yeah, so from testing, it was actually Vinales who was fastest. Then Fabio Quartararo was second on the, not the factory Yamaha, the second.
Satellite.
Yeah, the satellite effort. Then Alex Rins has been super, super impressive in testing on the Suzuki. So I think we're in for a good season from him. Marquez was fourth, but like you say, he's coming back from a shoulder operation. So
But
I think
it doesn't matter where he starts. You wait till the flag drops. It's like what we talked about last week about the world superbikes.
yeah,
Everyone's basing it upon the first round. These lads are in for big championships,
absolutely.
and they're thinking about the end game.
And then Valentino Rossi fifth, Jorge Lorenzo sixth on the Honda, Franco Morbidelli seventh, and then Pol Espargaro eighth. But if you're looking at the difference in times between Alex Rins in third and Pol Espargaro, there is absolutely nothing in it. There's less than 2/10 between third and eighth. So I think it's teeing up to being a fantastic first race.
What time is it? What time is it actually on?
I thought you meant what time is it now?
What time? We're talking far too much. There you go.
I think it's 7:00 their time. I think so. I don't know what time it'll be on in the UK, but
we'll have to have a look into that.
We'll have to check that up. But the race there last year was fantastic, and I'm trying to think who won last year. I think it was Dovizioso, Marquez, and Rossi on the podium. Crutchlow just missed out. I think Crutchlow's struggling this year after obviously that massive crash he had at the end of last year and the foot operation.
His matchstick ankles.
He seems to be struggling a little bit. But yeah, looking forward to the race. And for me, I don't know. I mean, Dovizioso won the race last year, but he seems to be in a bit off in testing, so I'm not sure what's going on there. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Maverick Vinales was fastest in testing, so I think you've got to say he's the favourite going into round one. So
Well, his confidence is high, isn't it? And like we
Yeah.
keep saying on the show, it's
I'll go. You can never bet against Marquez, like you said, but I'm gonna say Vinales for the win for the first round.
you're putting a pound in the swear jar if you're wrong, mate. There you go. There's your punishment, son. Hey, speaking of excitement, speaking of news, our theory has come to light, mind. Obviously, a few shows ago, we were talking about Scarborough, and the news out today. When was the news out? Sorry,
Yesterday, I think. Or
was it yesterday?
something like that. Yeah.
Anyway, at some point this week, Scarborough is back on the cards.
And so it was. We were actually talking about. I think it was supposed to be Mick Grant and Eddie Roberts putting something together, and that's obviously came to light in the last few days in the press. But yeah, I mean,
They've started a new company, haven't they? What is it called? 243 Club.
243 Club. So that's replacing the existing club that was running at Scarborough. Is that
Auto
right?
66.
Yes.
Right, got you. So I'll tell you what, we're gonna actually have to look into. Why the hell is it called 243?
243.
Is that their race numbers or something like that?
I've got absolutely. We'll have to check that out.
They are a bit more homework for us to do. There you go. So, no, it's exciting stuff because obviously a lot of people, especially being the UK's only road race,
Mm-hmm.
it's obviously back on the cards. And yeah, like we were saying prior, it's a bit. I don't know. I've got a little bit mixed emotions about Scarborough. I think me personally, it was an expensive meeting for the amount of track time you got. Now, obviously, this is a new club. New organisers, new owners. You know what I mean? You're talking some genuine, proper road racing fans and the TT winners, the pair of them.
Yeah.
So,
What sort of lap speeds do you do around? What's the lap record say around Scarborough?
oh Christ! Dean, it was Guy Martin held it for years, absolute years, and then it was only quite recently. I think it was it hasn't ran for 2 years now, but I think it was going into the last Gold Cup. Dean Harrison smashed that, but Dean Harrison just dominates that event.
And what do you think Dean Harrison will be doing it this year? Because I guess that's one of the big things is which names are going to be there battling at the front, because that's really what, they'll bring the crowds in anyway.
You see, there's obviously a few names that aren't going to be there, like James Counton, he was always a solid contender on there. He's won loads of races. Daniel Hegarty, he's no longer with us. He was a very strong contender, but like Guy Martin, we'll have to try and get him on the show because we don't know where the fuck he's gone, to be fair. And there's no way in hell I'm going to ask him because he'll just tell me to fuck off. But you, on the other hand, you've got a chance. But obviously, you've got your Deans, you've got... See, there's another one. Ivan Lynn was a hell of a contender. RC Express's Ivan Lynn. But I think Paul Jordan's going this year, who's racing for the team. So we'll see how that goes. But exciting times ahead. And I think, obviously, a lot of big fans out there who are excited to get going.
What about yourself? Would it be a possible weekend on the calendar for you?
Oh, definitely. I think they're doing the Barry Sheen meeting. I tell you what, I've got the dates. I feel like more. I've done my homework this time. And now I can't find it. That's just great. Hold on, here we go. So, the 2 dates I've got in hand are the Barry Sheen, which was the 27th, 28th of July, and they're doing the Scarborough Gold Cup on the 28th and 29th of September. So, 2 solid meetings, and yeah, they'll be absolutely great. But no, definitely have a word with the organisers. See what Cheddar's left. I think we should just call the show Cheddar.
Cheddar.
See what the Cheddar's like, but no, it is a good meeting, but it'll be very good to see how it's ran.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, it's a difficult thing to run any race meeting, but it's a lot tighter as a paddock and the organisations with the amount of races going.
Am I right in saying there was issues with safety there last time from a crash where the bike ended up in the crowd and some of the spectators were injured or something?
Yeah, there was a couple of big crashes and obviously spectators got hurt, and the ACU rightly so. If they want the event to keep going, they've got to improve the safety for not only the riders but the spectators. So I think Mick Grant and Eddie, oh God, that's terrible. Eddie Roberts, they're obviously that's the forefront, because if they don't tick the boxes in health and safety, this event will never get going. So they've come to a strong agreement, and we're going to get going. Are we going to see you there, spectating or?
Spectating.
Spectating, there you go. The hot dogs are dear mine. That's something that need a change. I'm telling you.
And I've just noticed that Gary Johnson's back with the Lee Hardy Racing team for the Northwest 200 this year. So, and it looks like he's going to be racing at No Limits Club Racing Series.
Right.
So,
now, we're talking a TT winner here. What's your opinion on that, him going back to club racing?
Well, obviously for him, it'll be great chance to get a load of testing in. I've done a few of the No Limits races for practice, ready for BSB, and they're actually organised by the same people that run BSB. So it's really well organised, and it'll be good track time for him.
It's good to have big names. Obviously, people like yourself and Gary Johnson to be there to try and invite the competition in.
Aye.
But you know yourself, when you go club racing, you just kind of want to be around your pack, your local rivalries and stuff like that. But
have you ever seen the endurance racing that they do at the No Limits?
I haven't. No, I've heard nothing but good things. Like we were talking about in the last show, actually, with Joe Walton. He was saying about there's prize money involved and everything like that. But
honestly, mate, it looks like wicked crack, and it's like there's a proper. It's kind of like a different element to going racing because it's a lot more of a team effort, and obviously it's like they do like 6-hour endurance races, so it's a case of all coming together. And
is it like, sorry, I'm just asking you a few questions now, but it's like, is it a minimum of riders? Is it like 6 laps? Have they got to split the laps? What have they got to do for an endurance race?
I'm not entirely sure the format of it. So I guess, it's something we'll look into. One of my sponsors actually this year, a lad called Dave Weimer, he's entering the endurance race, so we'll maybe get him on as a guest at some point and have a little bit crack and maybe ask him them questions, hopefully get some answers. But looking forward to that anyway. And moving on, the TT numbers have just been released. Is it today?
Well, everyone's getting the news. You either get a letter saying unfortunately you're not in, or you go onto your Track Intel system. Anyway, it's an online system where you submit your entries and who your sponsors are, what bikes you race, and everything like that. and people are like putting the Mountain Force on FaceTube and everything like that, you know. So, like, here's a few names people like you may or may not know, like Jonathan Perry. He's number 45 Superbike, and he's number 25 in the lightweight and 45 in the 600s. Josh Daly, number 61 Big Bike, 59 600. Mark Gooden's a very good friend of James County, and again, he's got number 52, so he'd be very proud of that.
Oh, very good. Well, just explain to, I've never really understood or never really asked about what the crack is with TT start numbers. So obviously the top lads seem to go off, being seeded the top 20. So is that a case of, so for instance, when John McGuinness always used to go off number 1, was that how does that work, the top sort of 20?
So the top 20 are in seeded position. So essentially, they've got to do their minimum qualifying laps for legal reasons. But, so say Hutchie goes off as number 9 normally. It doesn't matter if he's the fastest through practice. He goes off down the road at number 9 every time, if you know what I mean. So it's a case of like John always goes down number 1, even if he was the slowest in practice. So after number 20, it goes down to qualifying. So for example, there we have, hold on, Mark Goodens, number 52. So if Mark Goodens becomes the fastest rider in practice, if he's number 1 on all the paper, he can only go down the road at number 21.
Right, okay. Also, after qualifying at the TT, those from 21st position downwards gets all jumbled up in terms of numbers.
Exactly, that's it.
Right, okay. And the top 20, is that... So do people have personal choices to set off at certain... So, like, for instance, Hutchie, if he was the fastest person, does he like to go 9 so that he's chasing people down?
So, at the moment, there'll be, like, people discussing seeded positions. Now, that'll be getting discussed now.
Right, okay.
So it doesn't matter what they can do. So it's not like Hutchie can change his mind halfway through the week going, nah, I fancy going off number 2. It doesn't work like that.
Right.
It's obviously for more programs than anything. So
okay. So for instance, yourself, what did you run last year?
I was number 30 on the 600, number 29 Big Bike, and I was number
29.
Number 29, by 29. And I'm trying to think lightweight number. We had something like 55 or something like that.
Bloody hell, you must have passed a few people in that lightweight.
It was mint, absolutely mint. We finished 10th in that one, so no, that was a really good. That was really enjoyable, that race.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah.
But like, I think I went off number 22, one behind Derek McGee, and I think I was number 23 down the road in the Big Bike. But like we were finishing the top 20 and everything, even in practice.
Top 15, weren't you?
Yeah, top 15 in the races, but like even in practice, it was like top 20.
Oh, I meant.
So obviously that is the next step for me personally, is to try and get in the seeded numbers. But I don't even know my own numbers yet.
Mm-hmm. Oh, good.
Can't get the bloody internet to work. I can barely use the flush on the toilet, man.
So for you, is it just a case of you put where you put, and it's kind of you piss with the cock that you've got type of thing?
Yes, that's exactly it. You know what I mean? You've got to make the best of your situation. But like, the names are popping up all over the place, and it's, yeah. So
is it looking like you'll be seeded this year, top 20?
I have no idea, to be fair. Now, that is a system that I've never properly understood, how you become seeded. I think, really, you have to be outstandingly quick, but I think I might be on the cusp.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, there's a handful of us that are around about the same time, so I don't know if I'm going to be seeded or not, or just outside. But all I need to do is just keep on improving, and that's all I can do, son.
Excellent.
And go win a fucker.
How's the plans with the getting prepped for the season coming? Have you got any testing planned? Or everyone's out in Spain at the moment, isn't they?
You and me are the only people not in Spain. Everyone else is enjoying the sunshine, and you and me are grafting my bloody arses off trying to pay for it. But no, it's a case of at the moment the Davies team are doing a cracking job of building the bikes, and we're still just waiting on a few little parts and trying to get the job finished before we can even remotely put an entry in. Might even go do a no limits.
I would like to get something sorted. So the first round of the season, I think, is Easter weekend, so 21st, Sunday, 21st of April. So we've got a few BSB tests coming up, and if we can get a little bit of extra testing in as well with my Morello Kawasaki team, then I'll be I'm chomping at the bit to get out, to be honest, because obviously it's been a long winter, and I haven't really ridden properly since Cadwell Park then, which was August last year. So it's like a hell of a gap. But yeah,
you will be chomping at the bit.
my training's going well anyway. I've over the last few weeks stepped things up and getting on well in the gym. Somebody actually asked how the old diet's coming along, and I'm still
The Kenzo diet.
the keto
Kenzo.
I use keto diet mainly to shred my weight, and then once I get down to weight, it's a case I struggle to get enough calories in for the amount I'm training. So it's
Back to chocolate bars and full fat milk, is it, son?
Not exactly the chocolate bars, but yeah, it's slightly adapted. But I try and eat a high fat and protein diet. Try and keep off like the breads and the sugar and shit.
My diet, I mean, son. My diet. There you go.
Excellent.
Well, let's be honest. We're running out of stories. Obviously, needless to say that one of the biggest news out there this week was Keith Flint.
Yes.
Which is a sad loss of sport. He was a huge motorcycle fan.
Extremely sad. 49 years old.
Which is no age, mind.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Do you know what? I remember the first time that I saw Keith Flint in the flesh, and it was back in 2010. I was doing club racing at MRO Bempsey.
Oh, aye.
And so turned up, we were setting up in the garage, and there was two Lamborghinis just a few garages down, like parked outside. And it was Keith and his mate turned up in them, and he had, I think back then he had like some sort of work Suzuki parked up, and like it was like absolutely, it looked really, really nice. And he went out and he did practice and qualifying, but he wasn't allowed to race that weekend for insurance reasons. He had like a big gig with the Prodigy like the next Thursday or whatever, and the insurance company wouldn't cover him to race, because obviously if he'd injured himself and had to cancel the gig, there's thousands and thousands of tickets, and obviously hundreds of thousands of pounds, if not millions. So
doing the fire start in a wheelchair wouldn't have been that, would it? You know what I mean?
But no, it's huge loss, and it's so sad. Suicide and just
was that actually? I've barely seen the news recently. Was that actually the?
Yeah, and I mean, he's been such a massitive fan of the sport. Put a lot of his own money into he had a team in the British Championship, and I guess I didn't know him personally.
Nor me, no, but
I've got to say our thoughts and prayers go to all of his friends and family and
his fans. Yeah.
Thinking such a sad loss, and rest in peace, eh? But so to round up today's show, obviously we've got the NGK snapback sent through the post. It was actually
he is in, he is out.
Wait, do you know what? It was actually after that crack with Steve Brogan. They sent us some over. So big thanks to Paul from NGK for sending us them over. And what we're going to do is when we put the podcast out on the old Twitter, we'll always put the podcast out, the name, and maybe a little bit about what's in the podcast. If whoever retweets that will automatically go into and have a chance of winning. We've actually got 10 snapbacks to send out.
I was sold 15 of them, so we've got 10 left.
We only usually get about 10 retweets anyway, so
there we go. Ideal.
Hedge your bets, and we'll choose 10 people and post you out a nice NGK snapback. In fact, we'll take a picture now and stick it on the old Twitter, so you know what, you've got a chance of winning. But thanks very much anyway, and we're looking forward to, obviously we've got the crack about the MotoGP.
Yeah, let's go and see what drama happens in that. Yeah, looking forward to that, Chrissy.
Absolutely. Okey-doke, so have a good week, and I'll speak to you soon, mate.
Cheers, Chrissy. See you in a bit.